My name's David Winkleman. I'm the director of the Water Foundation. We're a conservation organization out of Brainerd, Minnesota. And we're trying to teach people the good sense in harmonizing with nature and cooperating with nature and learning nature's lessons. So even though we're the Water Foundation, we're teaching people the practical ways that they can reduce pollution in their homes and also save money in the process. Today we're going to talk about three different types of technologies that you can use in your homes that are simple, money-saving, and practical devices. The first is a wind turbine, and we have a 4,500 watt wind turbine out here. The second is a series of geothermal heating and cooling systems where we're using the energy of the earth plus a little electricity to do the heating of the buildings and the cooling of the buildings in summer. And third, we're going to talk about the composting toilets that retain all the pollution and don't put out any pollution into the environment and yet create a product, black dirt, that's a soil nutrient and amendment. Wind turbines. I used to call them wind generators till one person asked me how much wind does it generate. And I said, well, it actually is a wind turbine. A turbine is turned by the wind, and the wind is free fuel. There's free fuel up there going by us every day, and if we put a turbine, a rotor into the wind and catch that free fuel, it can make electricity for us. And now there are incentives so that people can afford to put in wind generators. There's tax incentives and production incentives, and the price of electricity is going up a little bit every year. So there's money in the wind. And I think that we need to put the wind to work. Geothermal energy is actually solar energy. The earth captures the sunlight energy and stores it down up to 200 feet deep into the earth. And what geothermal contractors do is put in earth loops of one nature or another to gather that ambient temperature of the earth and use it to trigger heat pumps that actually produce heating and cooling through compressors and circulating pumps. This is the header for the geothermal system. We have 4 sets of geopipe, each are 600 feet long. This one's 12 feet, this is 16, 20, and 24 feet underground. And the fluid circulates through there and draws the temperature out of the earth and then brings it back to come into the heat pumps. It's actually a fairly simple process where we simply take a fluid and circulate it through 2,500 feet of pipe that's in the earth. And as it goes through, it perhaps gets 5 or 6 degrees warmer in the wintertime. And that 5 or 6 degree delta T is enough to trigger the heat pump and run the cycles for heating and cooling. So here we have 2 types of heat pump systems. We have a closed loop where we have that 2,400 feet of geopipe in the earth. It's actually underneath of our pond. We dug a pond and put the geopipe in the bottom of it at 4 different levels. Then the other type of a system we have here is called an open loop, where we pump water from a well in the earth that actually drains into the pond and helps keep our fish alive. We have sunfish and crappies and a little fish farm out here, and our geothermal pump keeps the fish alive. This pond behind me here is the end of our geothermal system, or it's the beginning of it. We have that 2,400 feet of geopipe laid in the base of the pond at the different levels I explained before. So that's called the closed loop system. And the open loop system comes out here where the water is exiting from the well in the building. Composting toilets are very interesting pieces of technology. I've been selling them for about 10 years now, and it's really fascinating talking to people about their toilet systems. Most people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to think about it until there's a problem. We happen to like composting toilets because they do the same thing that nature does, and that is turn our excrement into a useful product for the earth. Well, so we've actually named our composting toilet here because it's a working ecosystem. It's one of the hardest working members of our staff, so we call him Phil. So we feed Phil every day. This is the compost chamber. This is where Phil lives and works hard every day. And the compost comes in from 3 bathrooms upstairs and falls into this large chamber where it's mixed with the toilet paper and sawdust and eventually produces black dirt, as you can see here. This again is the result of 9 years of use and about 58,000 uses. And yet there's nothing we've had to take out. After 9 years and 58,000 uses, we have about a foot of black dirt in the compost chamber. Well, the composting toilet here is just like a regular toilet. It just has a large chute that goes down, but there's no flush. There's no water. So there's no condensation dripping in the summer times. There's no place for bacteria to form. So there's no pollution and there's no smell. The smell in the bathrooms is taken out by a fan that's running all the time, drawing the air out, down into the chute of the bathroom and out of the building in a stack. That takes the moisture out and the smell out of the toilet. This is a smaller version of a compost toilet. This one's big enough to handle a family of 4. And we named this one Phil Jr. You can hear a motor running there. It turns the compost with a motor inside of stainless steel arms and grates. So the other one works on a gravity principle, but this one has an electric motor in it. Okay, this is our power center. We have multiple power sources on the premises here. We have the power company, then we have solar power and wind power, and that's where they come in. And then the solar and wind, which is DC current, comes into a voltage regulator where it's then charged into the batteries. And from the batteries it comes to the inverter. And the inverter is what turns it into AC power to power the building and the lights and everything. This is the brains of the system. It's pretty much foolproof and simple. This whole system causes us to be a power company. So now, as a power company, we generate our own power and we work with our local power company to sell the power to them. So when we're making more power than we need, it automatically feeds back into the power company and gives us a credit on our meter. And here we have some of the latest technologies in solar panels. This is the future of solar, where it's integrated into the building. This is actually a peel-off stick-on back, where this goes right over the top of a metal building roof or other smooth roofs. And this is a solar shingle, where when you replace your shingles, you can replace them with solar panels, so your roof becomes your generator. The Water Foundation is an educational campus located east of Brainerd in a set of buildings we call the eco-domes, where we have all these technologies here for people to come out and see and touch and look at the dials and the numbers and actually walk through a sustainable building complex. And in addition to visiting us, you can also go to the internet and take a virtual tour and go through several hundred pages of information, practical things about what you can do to reduce pollution in your home, not only with all these great technologies, but things like compact fluorescent light bulbs and low-flow shower heads and very practical things that we can do with our homes and our vehicles are all available at our website called thehopshop.net.